Joseph Stalin was born on December 18, 1878, to a poor family in the Russian region of Georgia, and had a rough upbringing. Once the revolution concluded and Lenin cemented himself as the leader of Russia, Stalin, who had proved himself during the revolution military and as a loyal communist, became the general secretary for the Communist Party. Following Lenin's death, Stalin slowly eliminated rivals with the help of other right-wing communists. Through demotion and execution, Stalin was on top by 1927. The first thing Stalin did was attempt to modernize the USSR. He mass collectivized agriculture, developed industry, and maintained control despite oppositions from the kulaks, or upper class of peasants, many of which he executed. Stalin also began a culture revolution. New schools, libraries, and newspapers were created, while religion was sidelined. During World War II, Stalin originally made a non-aggression pact with Hitler, but when Hitler broke it, Stalin led the USSR in defending the country in costly battles, until the USSR counterattacked and took Berlin with the help of the Allies. Following World War II, Stalin held on to many Eastern European nations, creating the Eastern Bloc, and beginning the Cold War. He attempted to spread communism and the USSR's influence up until his death in 1953. Stalin also changed Europe forever by having 20 to 25 million people killed for various reasons throughout his rule, with the help of the NKVD, which is double the deaths caused by the Holocaust.
Ronald Reagan was born on February 6, 1911, to a poor family in Illinois. After graduating college, he moved to California and led a successful acting career. In Hollywood, he led the Screen Actors Guild, a union that taught him about politics. In 1966, he was elected governor of California, and in 1980, he was elected president, and he began pursuing the economic policy of Reaganomics and the war against drugs. Reagan was instrumental in European history because he helped end the Cold War against the USSR, who he called the Evil Empire, through the Reagan Doctrine. The Reagan Doctrine was the policy of aiding anti-Soviet rebels in Soviet territories from the early 80s until the fall of the USSR in 1991. Reagan also publicly called for Gorbachev to destroy the Berlin Wall and even put more pressure on the USSR by changing the U.S. policy of detente to military buildup with the Star Wars defense program. Reagan also successfully achieved the INF Treaty with the USSR, which shrank both the U.S. and Soviet nuclear arsenals. After 2 successful terms as president, Reagan left office with an approval rate of 68%, one of the highest, and he died in 2004.
And the winner is Joseph Stalin. Stalin's greatest contribution was that he brought the USSR from a weak nation struggling with collectivization to one of the greatest powers at the time of his death in 1953. He struck terror in the minds of many, and he made the USSR an efficient machine of his will. Stalin was also responsible for the death of upwards of 20 million people, as well as contributing to the end of World War II and helping start the Cold War. For these reasons, Joseph Stalin is our pick as the most influential man in Europe during the period of the 1930s to the 2000s.